ناضي لي المزهر العجائب تجد هون لك في النوائب كل هم وغم سينجلي بأسمتك يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله بنبوتك يا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم 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 بولايتك يا ولي يا ولي يا ولي يا ولي يا ولي أدركني ولا تهلكني في سبيل الله يا علي مرشد شالي مدد شيخ خدا علي مدد بأسمتك يا بيت-ul-Huzn 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 مدد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. I would like to start today's gathering with an ayat from the Quran, Surah Maryam 1956 and 57. It says, and mention in the book, O Prophet, the story of Enoch. He was surely a man of truth and a prophet, and we elevated him to an honorable status. Salawat. Today I would like to speak about Prophet Enoch. The Prophet Enoch is a child of Adam, who was on this earth at the same time of Adam. And to go into more detail, Adam alayhi salam was at the age of 840 when the Prophet Enoch came to this world. I will now list the names of the first 10 prophets on this world. Adam alayhi salam, after Adam alayhi salam, his son Shish alayhi salam, which the Bible calls Seth. I will continue in the biblical names. Then Seth's son Enosh. Then there was Enosh's son Kenan, and Kenan's son Mahalalel, and Mahalalel's son Jared, and Jared's son Enoch. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. When I was searching for these names, the first 10 names of the first 10 prophets, I searched quite a while, and it was difficult to find in Islam. And so I found it in the Christian books. It was easier to find there. But then we always have the question of how much of it is authentic. So there's a hadith of Prophet Muhammad, where Prophet Muhammad lists all of his forefathers until Adam alayhi salam. And this hadith we also used the Jafri, Syed, Sabzwari clan, in which we have our whole shajra. As you know, we have a scroll, yes. And in there, it is also written in Arabic, these 10 names as well in the beginning of the sajda. Shukr alhamdulillah. Salawat. Now a question to everyone here. Who do you think is the oldest man to live? I heard someone say Adam. Adam passed away after 960 years. The next possible assumption would be Noah, because in the Quran it is written that Noah has done his mission for over 900 years. Only his mission. And then lived longer to about 2,000 years or a little more. Salawat. So biblically, the longest living man is Methuselah, who lived longer than Adam at 980 years. Islamically, it is Nuh alayhi salam, who lived a little more than 2,000 years. But are we forgetting about Jesus Christ, who is still alive today? Let us do the math. According to my studies, BC is before the birth of Jesus, and AD is after the death, which means there is a little space in there of his life, which was, say, 30 years. And today we have 2025 after death, plus those 30 years, That would put Jesus at 2055 years, which is older than Noah. Salawat. But Jesus is not the only prophet who is still alive today. Do we know any other prophets who are still alive today? Yes? Please. Khizr alayhi salam is also still alive today. Now, how old is Khizr alayhi salam? We don't have any written proofs, but based on what we know, Musa alayhi salam spoke with Khizr alayhi salam. And in that time, Khizr alayhi salam had already the appearance of an elder man. And he is still alive today. So that puts Khizr alayhi salam as older than Isa alayhi salam. Salawat. But is there someone older than Khizr alayhi salam? There are more prophets who are still alive today. Have you heard of the prophet Elias? He is also still alive today and is older than Khizr alayhi salam. Salawat. However, the prophet Enoch, also known as Hazrat Idris alayhi salam, is also still alive today. Let us calculate his birthday. Adam alayhi salam came to this world at, let us say, day 0. Just for our calculations. When Adam alayhi salam was 840 years old, Idris alayhi salam came to this world. So 840 years after the start of the world, Idris alayhi salam is here and still living. Salawat. The next great thing about Idris alayhi salam that I would like to share is, who do you think is the tallest human to ever live? When I was asking my fellow relatives before coming here, they also tipped on Adam alayhi salam. So I am here to tell you today that according to the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, it said 60 cubits, which calculates over to 27 meters tall. Salawat. However, Idris alayhi salam is said to have been taller than Adam alayhi salam. Not only taller, he was the tallest man to live at all. At 30 meters. 30 meters tall. You know how tall that is? This building that we are in, the driveway from the gate to the back, that is 60 meters. If Hazrat Idris alayhi salam were to lay on this driveway 2 times, there would be no room to walk. Salawat. Idris alayhi salam is also the first person to invent an alphabet and the first person to start writing things down and the first person to publish a book, which we know today as the Book of Enoch. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He is also the first person to raise an army in the name of Allah. And he raised his army against a king called Ahbab. And this king was from the descendants of Cain, Qabil. However, I would like to go more into this book for now. The Book of Enoch. It is not part of the Bible, as it was denied by the Bible. I will now tell you why it was denied by the Bible and how the Bible became to be. In the area of the Dead Sea, which is Israel, Palestine, Jordan, that area, on the left side of the Dead Sea, which is today's West Bank, there is a city that goes by the name of Qumran. And in that city, they found a buried library. It wasn't a very big library, but it was a buried library, and it had many manuscripts in it. And they collected these manuscripts and translated them and went through them. And whatever made sense to them, they put it in order, published it as the Bible. And whatever did not make sense to them, they took it out. However, in this library, there were also silly things present, like treasure maps, but there was also religious books present. Whoever's library this is, I thank you in advance. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. A total of 981 scriptures were found in 1947, and 76 of these are in today's Bible. These books are now the Old and New Testament. And 3 of these books that have been denied are books of Enoch. The book of Enoch is actually 3 parts. The Bible rejects it because they say the book makes no sense. It speaks of otherworldly beings, aliens who came to teach man things, giants, great torment, and they say it doesn't fit in the books of God, and it will just scare believers away because no one really understands it. And where people say that they don't understand it, that's where my interest begins. And I must look into it. Salawat. So I looked into some of the book, and I would like to share with you 2 or 3 passages, as well as each chapter and what they're about. So, the part 1 of this book, Hazrat Idris alayhi salam begins by warning mankind of what is to come. Part 1 talks about fallen angels and humanity. I will just read a paragraph or 2 from this book. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And Azazel taught man to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and make them acquainted with metals of the earth, and the art of working them, with bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, with the beautifying of the eyelids, with precious stones and all its colorings, and much wickedness arose. And they did zina, and went astray and corrupt in all their ways. But it does not end there. He names more than just Azazel. He says, Semjaz taught magic, Arumeros taught its resolutions, Barakijal taught astrology, and there is more. There's a total of 20 names that he mentions. And he says that 20 creations were sent out of heaven on that day, not just Azazel. But when we look at this, we see that eye makeup has existed for much longer than we think. Already back in Adam alayhi salam's time, Hazrat Idris alayhi salam is warning that the Satan taught eye makeup, and he taught how to make these weapons of destruction and how to kill each other. And he taught what things are valuable and what things are not, and what you should go after. So already in the beginning, he planted greed into our hearts. He planted our attraction to other human beings with this makeup and other matters. And he was already working hard from the beginning. Salawat. Then the book says, then Michael, Uriel, and Gabriel were sent to bring judgment on man and the fallen angels. Uriel informs Noah that the Most High, who is the Most High? No, Nara? Come on, man. That the Most High says to Noah that you should hide to an appointed time. And then Uriel revealed unto Noah that the end is coming, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and that a flood will come upon the whole earth and destroy everything on it. Then Uriel instructed Noah on what he has to do in order to be preserved for all generations of the world until the Son of Man comes. Salawat. So here in the book of Enoch, we are told that Noah was protected by an angel who instructed him to build the ark and who instructed him to keep mankind going until the Son of Man comes. Are they not all the Son of Man, from Adam alayhi salam to whoever the last person is? Who is the Son of Man? I did do indeed more research. And every time that the book of Enoch speaks about the great rapture, do you know what the great rapture is? The great rapture is the moment when all the Christians who were dead and who were alive, this again I am quoting the book of Enoch, all Christians who were dead and the Christians who are alive at the time of the great rapture will transfer into paradise. Salawat. And they will transfer by the power of the Son of Man. And it is written here, the Son of Man. The Son of Man is, as they say, Jesus or the Messiah. But in reality, we all know who is meant by Hazrat Idris alayhi salam in these lines. Salawat.
What does the book of Enoch speak of Christians?
It says Christians, but I will get into that later. Why it is twisted and mixed up. Because the book was found... Fine, I'll just go straight to it. The reason why the book of Enoch mentions Christians is because it was translated from Hebrew into English. All the books found in Israel, in that hidden library, it was a Hebrew library written with Hebraish letters. Now we are in luck because the Hebrew language and the Arabic language are very similar. Very similar. For example, we say Ya Eli, they say Ilya. It is very similar. And since this books first went through the hands of the Jewish, we get it filtered by the Jewish. I've said this before, but if you read Surah Baqarah, the Quran describes the Jewish as a group of people who know the truth, but purposely hide it from others. They greedily keep the knowledge for themselves. And the Christians as a group of people who don't know the truth because they are misguided. And the Muslims as a group of people who, whether they know or they know not, they have submitted themselves to the way of Allah. Salawat. And so, this book of Enoch was also filtered by the Jews, the same way that they say Joseph is the father of Jesus, when that is just a filtration of the Jews. So, I heard this name Uriel for the first time, and I wanted to research it. So I researched the names of the angels. Do you wish to hear the names of the angels? Then please, salawat. The names of the angels that we know, which are in Christian and Muslim books and Jewish books. I will use the Arabic names. The first one we know is Jibril, which is also available in the Hebrew as Gabriel. The second one we know is Mikhail. The third one we know is Israfil. The fourth one we know is Azazil. Yes, he too was an angel, so I added him to the list so that we can research his name as well. Another one we know is Israel. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I asked my father, Father, do you know why all the angels have names that rhyme? What is the secret behind it? And so upon speaking with my father and doing additional research, we learned that the il in each name of the angel means the will of God. Vilayat Eli. Il stands for Eli. Vilayat Eli. Now let us look at the prefix of Jibreel and the suffix. So the suffix is il, which means Vilayat Eli, and the prefix is Jabr. What does Jabr mean? Jabr means force, power. Power, force in Vilayat Eli. That is the name of Gabriel, Jibreel. Salawat. So basically, I am putting this in a very worldly terms. Gabriel is our law enforcement. He's our police. And a lot of people, especially criminals, they don't like the police. They say, oh no, it's the police, run. And so they do things to hide the name of the police. Forgive me for laughing. We look into history. Moses was in the desert for 40 years. The Jewish Bani Israel at the time, they had the same meal for every day. It was called mano salwa, which was quail and a type of tree sap. And they complained to Moses. And they said, Moses, we don't like this free food that we're getting from the heavens every day, that tastes good and always tastes the same. We wish for onions and dhania, coriander, and other kroita, herbs as well. And so Moses says, okay, take your weapons and go to so-and-so place and fight for your freedom and fight for your vegetables. And the Jews said, no, we don't want to. Just tell Allah He should do it for us. And Moses he had no response. Then Allah sent Jibreel. And Jibreel picked up a mountain in his hand and he said, either you will go or I will erase your nation here by placing this mountain on you. Salawat. And since that day, the Jewish society, they dislike Gabriel because he wanted to remove our lineage from the face of the earth. And that's why I just explained the name Jibreel as law enforcement. The next name would be Mikhail. Again, I have translated this using the Arabic spelling. It translates as pride or arrogance. Il in Vilayat Ali. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. According to the books, the job of Mikhail is to provide us with sustenance and foods. He provides food to all living things. Through Mikhail, Mawla Islam gives us all the sustenance we need to live. The next name that I will here translate is Israfil, with the Arabic word being Israf. Israf is mostly portrayed in the Quran as a negative thing for exaggerators. People who overdo things. That is what the word Israf means. But what if you overdo things in Vilayat Ali? Is that bad? Salawat. Israfil is also known biblically as Raphael. And according to the Bible, it is his job to blow the horn on the last day to inform people that Jesus has come to bring peace to the lands. And he again blows the horn when it is time to transfer to paradise. The next angel's name that I have here, that I will be translating to you, is Azazel. Upon researching this, it has become clear to me that Azazel is not his birth name, but it is a title, once again, given to him by Allah. The prefix being Azaz. What does Azaz mean? Azaz means became strong. Azaz means became honored. Became honored how? Il, through Vilayat Ali. Ya Ali. So Azazel, he became honored. He got his izzat through Vilayat Ali. It was an honor bestowed upon him, which he then threw away. And here is my favorite one personally. It is Israel. What does Azra mean? Azra translates as pure, to purify, to clean. So he cleans in Vilayat Ali. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. How does he clean? He purifies us from rijis and nijis. He purifies us from the dirt that we can remove and the dirt that we cannot remove. This is the mission or the job of the angel Israel. Everyone frowns when they hear his name. Oh, Israel, the angel of death. My time has come. But they don't understand that he's purifying us from that impurity that we hold on to. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. I will continue by going through the chapters of the book of Enoch, since I got a little sidetracked. In part 2, in chapter 2 of the book, it speaks about when Enoch went to the heavens. Prophet Muhammad also went to the heavens. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Prophet Enoch also went to the heavens. And he wrote down what he saw. Part 3 of the book is about the solar calendar. Who invented the solar calendar? According to this, Prophet Idris alayhi salam. According to this, here's what it says. It says that the year has 364 days. 4 seasons, each being 30 days, and one more. So that means 3 months have 30 days. 2 months have 30 days, and 1 month has 31 days. Now again, if we reflect this to our Imam's hadith, they say that there is no month that has less than 30 days. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Which is, I'm going back to the book, which is 52 weeks. Wednesday being the first day of the week. It is the 4th day where the Lord was creating everything. But according to the book, Wednesday is the first day of the week. Part 4 of the book is about prophecies of what is to come. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Part 5 of the book is a message from Hazrat Idris alayhi salam to us, in which he prophesizes all that is to come until the day that the Lord sits on the throne and judges all. He divided times into 10 weeks. In his descriptions of what is to come, he divided that time in 10 weeks. And those 10 weeks in 7 parts. That is how he categorized what is to come. According to those texts, I'm not going to read them all to you now. We are in week 7. Salawat. And of those 10 weeks and part number 7, week 10, part 7, he speaks about the great rapture, where Hazrat Idris alayhi salam says that what I have spoken to you a few moments before, that all Christians, those who were dead and those who were alive during the great rapture, will enter into paradise by the Lord's command in peace. Salawat. The great rapture is the time, as we read in Surah Rahman, where the mu'mineen will be inclined on couches and they will have expensive rugs and expensive curtains, and all the bounties of the earth will come out. This is the time after Imam Zamana comes, and we have 1,000 years of peace under Imam Zamana's rule. Except it is not 1,000 years of peace only under Imam Zamana's rule. All 14 Masumeen will have their own 1,000 years of ruling. And so Imam Ali alayhi salam is going to have 1,000 years of peace under his ruling. Imam Hassan alayhi salam 1,000 years of peace under his ruling. And so on. Salawat. And also not clarified was whether those 1,000 years are earthly years or heavenly years. Salawat. Going back to the chapters of the book, part 6 is called the Epistle, where he praises the Lord and explains about sawab and guna, and explains the difference between a mu'min and a munafiq. Part 7 of the book has 6 oracles against sinners and their outcome in barzakh and in hell and in so on, and for which sin is which punishment. This is also all written in the book of Enoch. Part 8 speaks about the birth of Noah, and I have a text here that I would like to share with you again. Salawat. To refresh your memory, I will mention the 10 names of the prophets once more. Salawat. So Adam alayhi salam has a son called Seth, who has a son called Enoch, who has a son called Kenan, who has a son called Mahalaleel, Jared, Enoch, Idris alayhi salam, his son Methuselah, his son Lamech, and his son Noah. Now that you have the names in your head, I will read what is written here. He speaks of the birth of Noah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became and bore him a son, and his body, now it is speaking about Nuh alayhi salam, and his body was white as snow and red as a rose. The hair of his head was as white as wool, beautiful. And as for his eyes, when he opened them, the whole house glowed like a sun. He opened his mouth, Nuh alayhi salam opened his mouth, and spoke to the Lord with righteousness. Salawat. And his father, Lamech, was afraid of him and fled to his father, Methuselah. And he said to him, I have gotten a strange son. He is not like an ordinary human, but he looks like the children of angels. His form is different, and he is not like us. His eyes are like the rays of the sun, and his face is glorious. It does not seem to me that he is of me, but of angels. And I fear that a wondrous phenomenon may take place upon the earth in his days. So I am beseeching you now, Father, begging you in order that you may go to your father, Enoch, and learn the truth. For his dwelling place is among the angels. Whose dwelling place is among the angels? Enoch alayhi salam, Idris alayhi salam. Salawat. So, our grandfather Lamech was scared when he saw Nuh alayhi salam. When Methuselah heard the words of his son, he came to us at the ends of the earth, for he had heard that I was here. Methuselah knew where Hazrat Idris alayhi salam was. And he cried aloud, and I heard his voice and came to him. And I said to him, Behold, my son, here I am. Hazrat Idris alayhi salam says to Methuselah, Why have you come here? Then Methuselah answered and said, On account of great distress have I come to you. On account of a grievous vision have I come near here. Now, my father, hear me, for unto my son Lamech a son has been born, one whose image and form are not like unto the characteristics of human beings. Salawat. Then his father, Lamech, became afraid and fled, as he did not believe that he, the child, Nuh alayhi salam, was of him, but of the image of the angels of the heaven. And behold, I have come to you in order that you may reveal to us the truth of the matters. Salawat. Then I, Enoch, answered, saying to him, The Lord will surely make new things upon the earth, and I have already seen this matter, and I have already made it known to you. For in the generation of Jared, my father, they transgressed the word of the Lord, the law of heaven. And behold, they commit sin and transgress the commandment. They have united themselves with the women, and commit sin together with them. And they have wives from among them, and they have children by them. There shall be a great destruction upon earth, and there shall be a deluge, and a great destruction for 1 year. Nuh alayhi salam's flood, 1 year. And this son who has been born unto you shall be left upon the earth, and his 3 sons shall be saved when they who are upon the earth are dead. And upon the earth there shall be giants, not of the spirit, but of the flesh. There shall be a great plague upon the earth, and the earth shall be washed clean from all the corruption. Now make known to your son Lamech that the son who has been born is indeed righteous, and call his name Noah, for he shall be the remnant for you, and he and his sons shall be saved from the corruption which shall come upon the earth on account of all the sin and oppression that existed. And it will be fulfilled upon the earth in his days. After that there shall occur still greater oppression than that which was fulfilled upon the earth the first time. For I do know the mysteries of the holy ones. Should I repeat that line for those who did not pay attention? After that, after Nuh alayhi salam's flood, there shall occur still greater oppression than that which was fulfilled upon the earth the first time. For I do know the mysteries of the holy ones. For he, the Lord, has revealed to me and made me know, and I have read in the heavenly tablets. Salawat. Some additional facts about Nuh alayhi salam. One, he was very white. He had white hair at birth. He had curly, long hair. And his sons, he had 3 sons. His son Sam, as our grandfather. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Now that I have explained to you what the chapters of the book of Enoch are about, and I have read a part of it, you could witness the beauty of the writing of Hazrat Idris alayhi salam. I would also like to share with you from the chapter 2 of his book how he describes the 10 heavens. This is a longer bit of text, and in between I will give a commentary. Salawat. I am again reading from the book, chapter The 10 Heavens. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. On the first day of the month, I was in my house alone. Hazrat Idris alayhi salam speaks in first person. And there appeared to me 2 men, exceedingly big, that I have never seen on the face of the earth. Who is the biggest human to ever exist? Hazrat Idris alayhi salam. Yet he is shocked by the exceedingly big 2 humans in front of his bed. He says their faces were shining like the sun. Their eyes too, like they were a burning light. And from their lips was fire coming forth. Fire is also a way that they used to mention light. They didn't really have light bulbs at the time. So that is how they describe light. Yes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And from their lips was fire coming forth, with clothing and singing of various kinds. In appearance, purple their wings, brighter than gold, and their hands whiter than snow. They were standing at the head of my bed and began to call my name, from which I rose from my sleep and saw these standing, and I saluted them. And I was seized with fear, and the appearance of my face was changed from terror. It says terror, but English is a weak language. The actual word is habat, not terror. There is a difference. Everyone understand? Salawat. And I was seized with fear, and the appearance of my face was changed from terror. And those men said, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear. The eternal God has sent us. And lo, today you shall ascend with us into heaven, and you should tell your sons and your household all that they should do without you on earth in your house, and let no one seek you until the Lord return you to them." Salawat. Then Hazrat Idris alayhi salam says, I made haste to obey them, and went out from my house and made to the doors. And I summoned my sons, Matuzalem, Regem, and Gaidad, and made known to them all the marvels that those men had told me. It came to pass, when Enoch had told his sons, that the angels took him unto their wings, and bore him up unto the first heaven, and placed him on the clouds. And there I looked, and again I looked higher, and saw the ether, and they placed me on the first heaven, and showed me a great sea, greater than the earthly sea. They brought before my face the elder, and services to the heavens, the elder, and the rulers of the stellar orders, and showed me 200 angels who rule the stars and their services to the heaven. Salawat. and fly with their wings, and come round all those who sail. And here I looked down and saw the treasure houses of the snow, and the angels who kept their terrible habit, storehouses, and the clouds into which they come out and into which they go. He's talking about the first heaven, where the angels have their storehouses, into which they come out, into which they go, with which they provide the earth. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
They showed me the treasure houses of the dew, like oil of the olive. This is the first point where he mentions olive oil. And the appearance of its form as of all the flowers of the earth. Further, many angels guarding the treasure houses of these things, and how they shut and open it. And those men took me upon the second heaven. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And showed me darkness, greater than earthly darkness. And there I saw prisoners hanging, watched, awaiting a great judgment. And these angels were dark looking, more than earthly darkness. And incessant weeping through all hours. I said to the men who were with me, wherefore are these incessantly tortured? They answered, these are God's apostates, who obeyed not God's commands, but took counsel with their own will. What is an example of this? An example of this is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us to read namaz 5 times a day. He tells us to do roza, fasting in Ramadan. He did not tell us to read the whole Quran during our Ramadan prayers. That was a human who took it into his own hands aside from God's commands. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
They answered, these are God's apostates who obeyed not God's commands, but took counsel with their own, and turned away with their prince who is fastened on the 5th heaven. Keep note, turned away with their prince. That means each individual here has their own prince. Do you see that as well? They turned away with their own prince. Not that there was a group of people with one prince. Okay. And those men took me and led me upon the 3rd heaven. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And placed me there, and I looked downwards, and saw the produce of these places, such as never been known for goodness. And I saw all the sweet flowering trees, and beheld that their fruits which were sweet smelling, and all the foods borne by them, and bubbling, with fragrant exhalation. And in the midst of the trees of life, in the midst of it, the trees of life, in the place in whereon the Lord rests. So in this paradise that he describes, where everything is basically infinite, food is infinite, beauty is infinite, fragrance is infinite, there is a tree where the Lord comes to rest. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. What is the most notable trees that we know in heaven? There is 2 that I will mention now. One is Shajaratul Tayyaba, which is also known as our Bara Imam Chaudah Masameen. And the other is Sidratul Muntaha, which is also known as the farthest point in heaven, where Gabriel said to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that here is the Sidratul Muntaha, I cannot go beyond this point or my wings will burn. Keep note of the Sidratul Muntaha, I will come back to this later. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And this tree is ineffable in goodness and fragrance, and adorned more than every existing thing. And on all sides it is in form gold-looking, and vermilion, and fire-like, and covers all, and has fruits. Its root is in the garden at the earth end. Its root is in the garden at the earth end. Earth is here. Its root is here. Its root is in the garden at the earth end. Earth is here. He's talking about paradise. How is its root here? I will leave this open for now. Salawat. And paradise is between corruptibility and incorruptibility. And two springs come out, which send forth milk and honey. Now, shukr alhamdulillah, we have this in the Quran as well, which tells us of rivers flowing like milk and honey. And their springs send forth another oil. I will not go into detail which oil. I will again leave that open for those who wish to understand. And wine. Wine is used to describe a liquid that brings you to a elevated.